All right, now we're joined by head coach Phil Neville. We'll get started with opening remarks.
Evening, guys. Obviously, the defeat hurts. I didn't think we played great, but I didn't think they played great either. I thought it was it felt like a playoff game. You know, the tension in the stadium. There was a good crowd. It was like a chess game at times where they probably spent a lot of time trying to sort of like stop us playing. They didn't create anything in the game. I didn't feel Nick didn't have any saves to make. It was always going to be said at half time to the coaches that it was always going to be a mistake, a lack of concentration that would cost either team the result or the player that would take the chance. And we was poor for the goal. And when we got our chances in the last, I didn't think we really threatened their goal that much, but in the last couple of minutes we had two really, really good chances. And we didn't take them. But I just said to the team then that it's the team that holds their nerve at this stage of the season. The results seem to be going our way, and we've got a great group. And if they have any aspirations of getting to where we want to get to, they need to enjoy more these occasions tonight, where it's tough. It's really, really brutal, where both teams are fighting and competing, and it's not always going to be beautiful, but we've got to compete and stay in the game and take the chances and be ruthless when we get those chances. And that's the challenge now for this group. They've almost had it easy in terms of we've been allowed to play, and tonight we weren't allowed to play our game. And when we don't play our game, we've got to find other ways of playing and other ways of competing. And we did that for large parts, but we've still got to be a goal threat, and we've still got to be, better in the final third, better in our possession, better in possession. So I'm frustrated, I'm disappointed, but we can't we can't dwell on it.
We'll start with questions. Mike DiPasquale, then Franco Panizo, then Jose.
Thank you, Rafa. Phil, if I could just follow up a little bit. 2 quick games. Now you have a little bit of time to get ready for Chicago. And before tonight's game, Lassiter just said, we are a dangerous team as we make our bid for the playoffs. Does this break now come at a good time because you have Pozuelo back and you guys can make your run?
Yeah. I mean, it's ideally we wanted to play Orlando on Sunday, but we weren't allowed to do that. We weren't allowed to do that because we wanted to keep building momentum. We wanted Orlando to come to Drive Pink. We wanted it to be a big game. But that decision was taken out of our hands. We now have to rest and recover. We've had 2 big energy games, one with 10 men tonight, with obviously a fiercely competitive game. You know, you could see that the levels between the 2 teams was pretty even, and there's a cluster of teams that are probably all in the same boat. I think in football, you speak to the players, they would want to get out there as quick as possible and just get back on the treadmill and get back to winning ways. This feeling that we've had in the last couple of games isn't nice, and we've not been used to it for a long time. So we have to recover our players. They're all fit. I've just said to them in there now, they've got to recover, they've got to rest. Some players will play for the MLS2 side on Sunday to gain minutes and to gain rhythm, and Saturday, and the rest will rest and recover, and we go against. We've got a big game against Chicago.
Next question, Franco, then Jose.
Thanks, Rafa. Hey, Phil. You touched on the couple of late chances you guys had late to tie the game. But over the course of over the 90 minutes, you guys came up with just 4 shots, 1 on target. I know you touched on needing better play in the final third, but what specifically did the team lack overall today with the ball and in the attack for you?
Composure. I felt we lacked composure. It was a fast pitch, and you could tell that you look at that, they were virtually man-to-man marking us in midfield. Motta and Gregory didn't get that space that they've been getting, which is fine. Teams are going to do that to us. You think about the Chicago, Columbus again on the Tuesday, then we've got DC. These teams will have watched us play, and just like we watched them play, they will have game plans. And I just thought we lacked composure to play under pressure throughout the whole team, really, apart from Nick at the back, who was outstanding in possession. So that was my biggest disappointment, that we didn't really have control at any moment, which then didn't allow us to create chances, get our wingers in behind. And like I say, I didn't feel as if we were a massive goal threat. And I kept thinking of like, how do we went to Coco up front with, because I wanted to put more pressure up front. I wanted to get more support for Gonzalo because we weren't really getting any joy in wide areas. But to get joy in wide areas, you need to control the middle of the field. You need to control possession, and we didn't do that.
Last two questions, Jose and Ian.
Thank you, Rafa. Phil, I wanted to ask you, how important is it to find the balance right now in terms of, okay, you won out of the last 4 games, you won the first 2. You went up to fifth place. That didn't mean you had your place in the playoffs. Now you're losing 2 in a row. That doesn't mean you're out. How important is it to find that balance at this point in the season?
Well, I think when your experience tells you that you in the last 7 games, you're going to drop points. You're going to drop points. And it's how you recover from dropping those points. It's how you bounce back. It's how you accept sometimes going a goal down. It's not a time of the season to panic. It's not a time of the season to rip up the rule book and do something different. It's about having trust and belief in each other. And I have incredible trust in this group of players. And the last 2 games, the game on Saturday, obviously with the sending off, became very difficult. And tonight was another difficult away game where it was fine margins. And the thing I loved about the game tonight, even though we lost the game, it felt like a playoff game. So it was for me, what I said to him at the end is that the next 6 games will probably help us prepare for where we want to get to in terms of the enormity of the games, the expectation in the games, the crowd and the pressure. This is where we want to be. And I keep reminding them of when we went away to Austin and we lost 5-1. And I'm thinking like how far we've come from then. And we would have absolutely snapped their hands off to be in this position now, to have everything in our control. And at this moment in time, we cannot back off. You can't win by digging a hole. You've got to win by attacking, and that's what I want them to do. I want them to attack. I want them to be on the front foot. I want them to enjoy their football and this experience.
Last question, Ian.
Thanks, Rafa. Hey, Phil.
Hi, Ian.
Chris didn't have his finest game. He's played every minute of every game this entire season for you. He let up the goal with Luis Diaz, gotten beat there. How do you regroup with him? It has to mean something to him to get taken off. He hasn't been taken off all year. So what do you say to him and keep his confidence going with a long extended break here?
Well, yeah, I think he's probably one that will really benefit from the next 3 or 4 days. He's been sensational, without doubt. Probably our best player consistently. He was on a booking, so we felt at that moment that we would put Kieran on. Kieran was unlucky not to play. And Chris, there's no problems with Chris. He's a warrior. He knows he probably should have done better for the goal, but we don't need to tell him that because he's been our best defender. And the next 3 or 4 days will be really crucial for him to rest and recover and just to get his freshness back. It's the time of the season when you've got to grind, and it's the time of the season when will you have tiredness? Yeah. We've been at it for 8 months. You guys will be just as tired as us, but everybody's in the same boat. Columbus had players out there that had played major minutes all season, so they're going to feel the same as Chris McVeigh. So it's a test of mental strength. It's a test of how much you want it more than your opponent. And I'd say that I want us to enjoy the grind, and this is what we prepared them for. This is why we train them hard. This is why we do the stuff that we do.
Thank you.